Captain Zix Sinara of the Andromeda Peacekeeping Force slammed her tentacle on the holographic display, causing it to flicker momentarily. The faces of the galaxy's most notorious criminals rotated slowly before her compound eyes, each one a menace to civilized society. However, one face was conspicuously absent from the lineup. "Where is he?" she chittered angrily at her second-in-command, a tall, willowy being from the methane swamps of Epsilon Adani. "Who, Captain?" Lieutenant Kell asked, his voice bubbling through his respirator. "The human, you vacuum-brained fool." "Where is Jason Cooper?" Krell's tendrils writhed nervously. "Ah, about that, Captain, the Council has removed him from the list." Zix Sinara's exoskeleton nearly cracked from the tension. "Removed? Removed? That hairless ape has terrorized half the sectors in the Orion Arm. He's stolen more credits than the GDP of the entire Crab Nebula. How can they just remove him?" "Well," Kell began, choosing his words carefully, "it seems that the human governments have intervened on his behalf." The captain's mandibles clicked furiously. "Of course they have. Those primates stick together like Regulan slime mold. What's their excuse this time?" Krell pulled up a classified report on his datapad. "According to this, Cooper's actions have been retroactively classified as sanctioned operations in the interest of galactic security. They're calling him a hero now." Zix Sinara's eye stalks twitched in disbelief. "A hero? He blew up the methane refineries on Titan. He hijacked the Arcturian royal yacht. He stole my own ship from right under my thorax. Yes, well." Krell coughed. Apparently those were all part of an elaborate sting operation to catch the real criminals. The refineries were a front for a drug cartel, the royal yacht was being used to smuggle banned weaponry, and your ship. What about my ship?" Zix Sinara's voice had dropped to a dangerous whisper. Krell wished he could melt into the ship's bulkhead. "Your ship was apparently being used by some of your own crew to transport illegal AI cores." He exposed the whole ring. The captain's exoskeleton turned an alarming shade of purple. "That's preposterous. I would have known if my own crew were." She trailed off, remembering the unexplained cargo manifests, the odd behavior of her former navigation officer, the mysterious transmissions that the comms team could never quite trace. "It can't be," she muttered more to herself than to Kell. "How could one human have orchestrated all of this?" Krell shrugged his upper appendages. "The humans have a saying, Captain, never underestimate the ingenuity of a cornered rat." Zix Sinara's antenna drooped. "I thought the saying was about cats, rats, humans, they're all strange earth creatures to me," Kell admitted. "The point is, Cooper managed to turn a life of crime into a celebrated career in espionage. The Galactic Intelligence Agency is already recruiting him for their next big operation." The captain slumped into her command chair, feeling every one of her 7 decades. "So that's it? He gets away with everything, because he claims it was all part of some grand plan?" "Not exactly," Krell said, his voice taking on an odd tone. "You see, Captain, there's more to this story than meets the eye." Zix Sinara's eye stalks swiveled toward her second-in-command. "What do you mean, Krell? Spit it out before I molt from anticipation." Krell's tendrils twisted into what passed for a smirk on his species. "Well, Captain, it seems that Cooper's grand plan was actually part of an even grander plan, one that goes all the way to the top of the Galactic Confederation." The captain's exoskeleton creaked as she leaned forward. "Explain." "Now you see." Krell began, lowering his voice. "The Confederation has been aware for some time that there's a shadow organization operating within our ranks, an organization so deeply embedded that traditional methods of investigation were useless. They needed someone outside the system, someone unpredictable. Someone. Human." Zix Sinara finished, realization dawning. "Precisely." Krell nodded. "Cooper was approached years ago by the highest levels of Confederation intelligence. They gave him carte blanche to operate as he saw fit, to blur the lines between legality and criminality, all in service of exposing the shadow group." The captain's mind raced. The Titan refineries. A major source of funding for the shadow organization, disguised as a legitimate business. The Arcturian royal yacht. The shadow group was blackmailing members of the royal family. Cooper's theft exposed the evidence and freed the Arcturians from their influence. Zix Sinara's voice dropped to a whisper. And my ship Krell's tendrils drooped sympathetically. "I'm afraid so, Captain. Your former navigation officer wasn't just smuggling AI cores, he was a high-ranking member of the shadow organization, using your ship's diplomatic status to move agents and resources across the galaxy." The captain felt as if she'd been sucked out into the vacuum of space. Everything she thought she knew had been turned on its head. But why go to such extremes? Why not just conduct a normal investigation? "Because, Captain," came a new voice from the doorway, Normal doesn't cut it when you're dealing with the Zorian Syndicate. Zix, Sinara, and Kel whirled around to see a figure lounging against the bulkhead. He was shorter than both of them, with a shock of unruly hair and a cocky grin that seemed to defy the laws of facial musculature. Cooper, Zix, Sinara hissed. Jason Cooper, the most wanted man in the galaxy, or rather the former most wanted man, gave a mock salute. The one and only. Miss me, Captain Zix. Sinara's tentacles clenched, but Kel put a restraining appendage on her shoulder. What's this about a Zorian Syndicate? The lieutenant asked. Cooper's grin faded, replaced by a look of grim determination. Only the most dangerous criminal organization the galaxy has ever seen. They've got tentacles, no offense, in everything from planetary governments to megacorporations. They've been manipulating galactic events for centuries, always staying just out of sight, and you exposed them. Zix, Sinara asked, her anger giving way to grudging curiosity. Not yet, Cooper admitted, but we've dealt them a serious blow. The operations I've taken down over the past few years have crippled their infrastructure and funding. Now we're ready for the final push. Kel inquired. Cooper's grin returned. That's right, Squidface. The Confederation has authorized me to put together a team, the best of the best from every species and every walk of life. And guess what? He pointed at Zix, Sinara, and Krell. You two just made the cut. Zix, Sinara's eye stalks nearly tied themselves in knots. U.S. But I've been trying to arrest you for years. Exactly, Cooper nodded. You're persistent, detail-oriented, and you don't give up. Exactly the qualities we need for this mission. Plus, he added with a wink, I figure I owe you one for borrowing your ship. The captain's mind reeled. Everything she thought she knew about her career, about the state of the galaxy, had been upended in a matter of minutes. And now this infuriating human was offering her the chance to be part of something bigger than she'd ever imagined. So Cooper said, extending his hand in the human gesture of agreement, are you in? Zix, Sinara looked at Krell, who gave the equivalent of a shrug. Then she turned back to Cooper, her compound eyes narrowing. One condition, she said. Name it, Cooper replied. I get to fly the ship. Cooper's laugh echoed through the command center. Deal. Now let me tell you about our first target. Ever heard of the Epsilon Crux black hole? As Cooper began to outline their mission, Zix, Sinara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She had a feeling that working with this human would be the greatest challenge and perhaps the greatest adventure of her life. Little did she know, the galaxy was about to change forever, and she would be right at the center of it all. Cooper's eyes gleamed with a mixture of mischief and determination as he pulled up a holographic display of the Epsilon Crux system. The black hole at its center pulsed ominously, its event horizon a stark line between existence and oblivion. This, he said, pointing to a small station orbiting dangerously close to the black hole, is our target. The Zorian Syndicate calls it the Vault. Zix, Sinara's antenna twitched skeptically. A space station that close to a black hole? The tidal forces alone would tear it apart normally, yes. Cooper agreed, but the Zorian have some seriously advanced tech. They're using the black hole's gravity to power a shield that can withstand just about anything. It's the perfect hiding place for their most valuable secrets and stolen treasures. Kel burbled thoughtfully through his respirator. And I suppose you have a plan to get us inside this impregnable fortress. Cooper's grin widened. Oh, I've got more than a plan. I've got a human plan. Zix, Sinara, and Krell exchanged worried glances. They'd both heard stories about human plans, brilliant, insane schemes that somehow worked despite, or perhaps because of, their sheer audacity. Do we want to know the details? Zix, Sinara asked hesitantly. Probably not. Cooper admitted, but you're going to hear them anyway. First, we're going to need to steal a Zorian ship. Then we'll need to infiltrate a Gaxian royal ball. After that, it's just a matter of a little quantum entanglement, a lot of explosives, and one very angry Jovian space whale. Krell's tendrils tied themselves in knots. I understood perhaps 3 of those words, and I'm not sure I liked any of them. Welcome to working with humans, Cooper laughed. Trust me, it'll all make sense when we're in the thick of it. Probably, maybe. Zix, Sinara felt a headache building behind her eye stalks. And what exactly are we hoping to find in this vault? Cooper's expression turned serious. The key to bringing down the entire syndicate: financial records, blackmail material, weapons designs, everything they've been using to manipulate galactic events for the past 1,000 years, and you believe this will be enough to dismantle their organization? Krell asked. It's a start, Cooper nodded, but more importantly, it'll give us the leverage we need for Phase 2. There's a Phase 2, Zix, Sinara groaned. Of course there's a Phase 2, Cooper exclaimed. You don't bring down a millennia-old shadow organization with just one crazy heist. We're going to need at least 3, maybe 4 crazy heists, minimum. Despite her reservations, Zixanera found herself becoming intrigued. And I suppose you'll be needing my skills as a pilot for these heists. Your piloting skills, Kel's tactical analysis, and about a dozen other specialists I've got lined up. Cooper confirmed. This is big, guys. Bigger than anything any of us have ever done before. We're not just talking about taking down criminals, we're talking about reshaping the entire balance of power in the galaxy. Krell's respiratory sacs inflated with excitement. You mean? Cooper nodded solemnly. That's right. If we pull this off, we might finally have a chance at true galactic peace. No more proxy wars between rival alien species. No more economic manipulation by shadowy cabals. Just open, honest cooperation between all sentient beings. Zixanera felt a surge of emotion she couldn't quite name. It was more than excitement, more than anticipation. It was hope. Hope for a better future, not just for her species, but for all species. All right, Cooper, she said, her voice filled with newfound determination. You've got your pilot. When do we start? Cooper's grin returned full force. Right now. Our first stop is the Andromedan black market. I hope you both like haggling, because we're about to go shopping for some very illegal, very expensive equipment. As they left the command center, heading towards Cooper's ship, which Zixanera noted with some annoyance was significantly more advanced than anything in the peacekeeping force's fleet, the captain found herself wondering just what she'd gotten herself into. But as she glanced at Cooper's confident stride and Kel's excited trembling, she realized that for the first time in years, she was looking forward to the future. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever insane schemes this human had cooked up, she was ready to face them. The galaxy was about to change, and Captain Zixanera of the Andromeda Peacekeeping Force was going to be right in the middle of it all. And honestly, she couldn't wait. As Cooper's ship, the Cosmic Caper, sliced through hyperspace towards the Andromedan black market, Zixanera found herself in the co-pilot seat, marveling at the vessel's capabilities. The ship moved with a grace that defied its cobbled-together appearance, a testament to human ingenuity and Cooper's knack for modification. So she chittered, trying to sound casual. Tell me more about this team you've assembled. Cooper's fingers danced across the control panel, making minute adjustments to their course. Well, we've got quite the motley crew. There's Dr. Zith, a Venetian bioengineering genius. She can whip up a custom virus that'll have a security system begging for a reboot faster than you can say antibodies. Kel, who had been quietly observing from a nearby acceleration couch, burbled in surprise. A Venetian? I thought they never left their aquatic cities. They don't. Cooper grinned. Usually. Let's just say Zeth has a unique perspective on galactic affairs and a score to settle with the syndicate. Who else? Zixanera pressed. Her curiosity piqued. Well, there's Greyor, our muscle. He's a Taurian berserker with a heart of gold and fists of neutronium. Then we've got Zephyr, a luminant energy being. She can interface with any computer system in the galaxy. Zixanera's eye stalks swiveled in disbelief. You managed to recruit a Luminan? They're notoriously isolationist. Cooper winked. Let's just say I made a compelling argument. And by compelling argument, I mean I saved her from being permanently trapped in a quantum storage device. Long story. As Cooper continued to list off their eclectic team members, including a reformed Plutonian assassin, a hyper-intelligent shade of the color blue, and a sentient black hole with a penchant for number theory. Zixanera felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation building in her thorax. And you really think this diverse group can work together? She asked. Cooper's expression softened. That's the beauty of it, Captain. Each of these beings has a reason to see the syndicate fall. They've all been hurt by the Zorian in some way. And more importantly, they all believe in the possibility of a better galaxy. Unity in diversity, it's a human specialty. Before Zixanera could respond, the ship's sensors blared a warning. Cooper's hands flew across the controls, bringing them out of hyperspace with a lurch that had Krell's tentacles tangling. What is it? Zixanera demanded, her military training kicking in. Cooper's face was grim. Trouble. Looks like the syndicate got wind of our little shopping trip. We've got a Zorian battlecruiser on an intercept course. The massive ship loomed before them, its crystalline hull gleaming menacingly in the light of a nearby nebula. Weapons ports began to glow with charged energy. Your fancy flying getting us out of this one? Krell asked nervously. Cooper's cocky grin returned. Oh, we're not running. In fact, this might be just the break we needed. How do you two feel about a slight change of plans? Zixanera's mandibles clicked in exasperation. Let me guess, another human plan you're catching on quick. Captain Cooper laughed, his hands already plotting a new course. Now, here's what we're going to do. As Cooper outlined his audacious scheme involving a daring boarding action, liberal use of Greyer's neutronium fists, and what he cryptically referred to as the old Trojan hamster gambit, Zixanera realized that her life had irrevocably changed. Gone were the days of predictable patrols and by-the-book procedures. She was now hurtling through space with a human madman, about to take on the galaxy's most dangerous criminal organization with a plan that sounded more like a fever dream than a tactical operation. And despite every logical neuron in her brain screaming in protest, she found herself grinning with anticipation. The Zorian battle cruiser grew larger in their view screen, its weapons powering up for a killing blow. But as Cooper threw the cosmic caper into a series of impossible maneuvers, Zixanera knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would she. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. For every comment that says, we will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.